Today on Divorce Court.
I'm here at divorce court because I have trust issues with my husband, Jerome.
She just has major trust issues when it comes to women in general.
He's always quiet as if he has something to hide.
Nicole is very controlling in terms of where I am and what I do.
Sometimes I feel like I am the man.
Nicole, I need you to understand that I am a good husband and that I love you unconditionally.
I need you to take the lead. I need you to be the man of the house. And I need you to be more strong.
Divorce Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lynn Toller presiding.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Nicole Stevens and Jerome Stevens. The two of you have been married for a brief 18 months and you're in trouble already. So you've come to see me. I have written on the top of my cheat sheet here, power and control, as the issues that I saw throughout your paperwork. Mrs. Stevens, why don't you tell me why you think you're here?
I am here today because I have trust issues with my husband, Jerome.
Okay.
And
Tell me what he's done to cause you to be distrustful.
Okay. Well, there was a time we was sitting on the couch. He was looking through his phone, and he was showing me some old pictures he had, you know. And as we were strolling through his phone, you know, there was a picture of a female, and that was okay, you know. And before I could even say anything, he already let me know this was a picture he had of a female who passed away. That was fine. So we're strolling again, and then I see a picture of his ex. So that was okay too, you know. So then I swipe to the left, and there's a picture of his ex in a bathing suit, a sexy bathing suit. And then I swipe again, and then there's another one of her where her breast is almost exposed in a sexy top. And then I swipe again, and he's got another one of her in a sexy dress. So,
do you have a whole array of pictures?
About 4 or 5 of them.
No.
Of your ex?
No.
Well, what's she talking about?
She's basically talking about a Facebook account that I previously had before we got married, that the pictures basically were
posted. They live on there, yeah.
They were posted, tagged on Facebook as if someone takes pictures that I didn't take that I did not take myself, they will be tagged to my page.
I got
So
you.
they were on my phone as I was deleting, because I had so many pictures that people tagged me.
No.
How old were they? Were they recent?
I mean, this was in the beginning. I think we had just got married.
Just got married.
Right.
But were the pictures recently uploaded to the phone? Because he's taking you on a stroll through his phone. So clearly he's not trying to hide anything from you. Clearly he's not trying to get one over on you. I can't understand why you're upset that the fact that he had a past happened to appear on his phone.
Right, and I understood that. And I gave him a pass that time. I said, okay. He said it was in an old file that he didn't realize that the pictures were still there.
I don't think you gave him a pass, because it's the first thing you brought up when I asked you what your trust issues are.
Well, that's when they started with him.
Give me something that's going to say something.
The other trust issue, okay, when he's talking to a certain friend. And this particular friend...
Talk to me, not to him.
This particular friend, every time they talk, and I caught on after about the 4th or 5th time, every time they talk, he got to inform the friend, oh, the friend can't even get a sentence out. He must inform the friend, oh, by the way, my wife's in the car. Oh, I'm just at home with my wife. Why every time that this friend called, in other words, as if he's trying to give him hint, hint, what we normally talk about, we can't talk about because I'm in front of my wife.
Mr. Stevens, your response to that?
Okay, I know what friend she's speaking of. There's a friend of mine that calls me, and as guys talk, sometimes the language.
Right.
And so what I was basically just letting them know, be
respectful. I'm with my wife.
Right. This young guy, a friend of mine, he's also married. Been very respectful. You know, always been honorable to his wife, good family man. So my wife feels that she doesn't like for me to talk to talk to him because
I think y'all got something to hide. I think it's guy code.
Mrs. Stevens, look at me.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
far, you're batting 0 on the rational
wait a
meter
minute
here.
now. Wait a minute now.
Don't tell me to wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe.
Ever.
Forgive me. I apologize.
I was talking.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So far, you're batting 0 on the rational meter.
Okay.
Give me something that would lead me to believe that this man is doing something inappropriate.
Well, on his Instagram account, I don't think it's appropriate for a married man and to look at a picture. Now, this was his ex BFF, which was a female.
An ex, the BFF of his ex?
No, his best friend, female,
Right.
who at our wedding made it her point to say she was his best friend like 4 or 5 times on the mic at my wedding reception. What was that about?
Do you think he's cheating on her with her and told her, said, hey, by the way, we're gonna keep this on the low, but keep reminding her that that you're my best friend. Do you think that's what happened?
No, but is it appropriate for him to like her picture? She's about a triple G, okay, on Instagram. To like her pictures with her doing a selfie of all her breasts exposed as a married man. Is that appropriate?
Can I
Respond to
can I
that.
address? Your Honor, this basically speaks to my wife's insecurities. So let me go.
I'm not insecure.
Stop.
So let me go back to what she's talking about. Yes, the young lady came. We got married April 29th, 2017, last year. A bunch of my friends came, male and females. There's about 12 friends of mine that's been friends for about 20 years.
Why do friends dance like that?
Mrs. Stevens, let me tell you one problem you have in this marriage.
Yes.
You have the problem, you're rude, and you interrupt your man.
Yeah.
And then you have to allow him to speak. I gave you a full opportunity to speak your mind.
Yes.
And right now, you're reading overbearing and a little bit paranoid.
Okay.
So rein it in so we don't have a problem. You
Yes,
with
ma'am.
me?
I'm with you.
Mr. Stevens, go right ahead.
Thank you. I agree with my wife. She had probably had a little too much to drink, came up, because this was at a time where we were letting people speak on our behalf.
And she said the wrong thing.
She said the wrong thing. Now, I agree with her. Yes, she shouldn't have said.
Did you like the picture on Instagram?
Yes, there was a picture that I might have said I liked, but it wasn't.
Press the like button.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it wasn't because, first of all, the young lady.
There was nothing sexual about
Right,
it. It was just,
right,
you liked it. It was a
right.
nice picture. You liked
Exactly.
it. There you go.
If a young lady is top heavy, she can't do nothing about that. It
right.
wasn't like she was on there naked.
I got
She
you.
wasn't,
I got you.
she wasn't on there naked, So it was more or less that my wife had a problem because.
I got it exactly.
Okay.
What I want to talk about now is Mrs. Stevens' assertion that you, Mr. Stevens, aren't responsible and don't take on your role as the husband in the household, and that's bothering her.
This is how he does, by throwing me under the bus and not being assertive. Later on that day, I heard him talking downstairs, and he said, by the way, I would have took you to school, but your mom told me no.
So, Mrs. Stevens, why don't you tell me what you believe Mr. Stevens' failings are as the head of the household?
Well, for one, I shouldn't be the sole one paying all the bills. Yes, he does contribute, but I pay the bills, I cut the grass, I barbecue, I put furniture together. I mean, I'm married, I have a husband. He should know how to do those things. And by the way, he didn't know how to do them. And I don't try to be over-demanding or overbearing, but he just didn't know how to do it, so I had to help him,
Did he figure it out eventually?
After breaking a few things, breaking a couple of lawnmowers and breaking things and, not taking the battery out the car and sitting there for, 2 hours trying to get the battery out.
So he didn't know all the doodly chores, the
No.
doodly tasks. Let me ask you this. So you have a problem with the way he deals with your kids. Why don't you tell me what that is?
Yes. I work 3 days out of the week from the home, away from the home. And I call and, ask him how things are going. And, he told me one of my daughters had missed the bus a couple of days that week, and he took her to school. And one day when I was with my husband having some alone time, she comes banging on the door demanding that we give her the keys to the car so she can go to school. And my husband jumps up, at her demand and was gonna take her or give her the keys. And I said, no, you're not gonna do it. But listen, this is how he does, by throwing me under the bus and not being assertive. Later on that day, I heard him talking with my daughter downstairs, and he said, by the way, I would have took you to school, but your mom told me no.
Mr. Stevens, your response to that?
When we got married, one of the things was for me was important because she has girls, and now they're my daughters.
Right.
They're not my biological.
Right.
So that situation being a little different for me is that I wanted to come in with respect first and foremost. I knew if I came in the beginning being that way, they wasn't going to respect me because, if anything, probably react in a negative way, saying that, you're not my dad.
Absolutely. Let me say this to you, Mrs. Stevens. The problem I usually get in here is when a dude or a woman comes into the life of a child as a stepchild, they come in making orders and demands. What they have to do is they gotta come in and they have to inspire love and a friendship and care. And you kinda gotta be the good guy, you and me against mom a little bit. It just, he's doing it the right way. He's teaching those girls to love him and to respect him and to like him, because they didn't pick him, you did. But he's doing his job as a stepfather to say, I'm on your team, I'm on your side. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was a little much to say it was your mama, but I love the way you came at it. I love the way that you're trying to get them to love you. That is fantastic. I wish I'd have done a better job at that when I was your age. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with you next, Mr. Stevens.
Okay.
Because I think you feel controlled and belittled.
Yes.
And I want you to tell me why.
At the end of church, as you know, people come to you and greet you, and they give you what we call a church hug.
Right.
My wife told me that I'm not allowed to hug anybody. If a woman comes to me, I need to extend my hand out to her.
Mr. Stevens, you say you feel controlled and belittled. Why don't you tell me why and give me some examples?
Okay, I work from 12:30 to 9:30. My wife will actually call me right at 9:30, talk to me the whole way because she feels that I'm not gonna go straight.
I don't talk you the whole way.
Mrs. Stevens, you interrupted him.
Because she feels that I'm not gonna go home.
So she makes sure she talks you all the way from work to home.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
gotcha. Anything else?
Also, church. We're churchgoers all the time. And now we've actually gone to. This is our second church. All because she feels a certain way about my relationship with the pastor, in terms of I have a good relationship with the pastor, and so some of the things that we've been through, I reached out to the pastor.
For counsel.
Right, for counsel. So she feels like we can't go to that church because she feels like I've badmouthed her so bad to the pastor. Now that she feels like everybody in the church is looking at her a certain way. Also, when we leave church, at the end of church, as you know, people come to you and greet you, and they give you what we call a church hug.
Right.
My wife told me that I'm not allowed to hug anybody. I mean, to hug the opposite sex. If a woman comes to me, I need to extend my hand out to her. I cannot hug her. I've never embraced a woman where I pull a woman towards me, where we're chest to chest.
Does she speak to you appropriately? She interrupts you a lot. Does she? I know that much.
And in heated arguments, yes. When I say belittle, we've got into arguments where she's belittled me, she's called me some names.
Mrs. Stevens, what's your response to his contention that you're controlling and belittling?
This is his first marriage. He's never been married before. I mean, he's lived, and I'm his longest relationship. So, on fairness to me, this is all new to him. He's learning how to, live with a woman. So he was a single man for so long, so he didn't know boundaries. So I was just trying to tell him, as a married man, you have to know boundaries now with women. And, you know, everybody in church, you got women in church looking for husbands and maybe other people's husbands. So I'm just saying, you know.
What are you afraid of?
I can admit that I guess I was doing preventative maintenance because formerly I was married. And so I feel doing it sometimes, not even knowing that I'm doing it, I'm preventing, so I'm going to...
I got you. I know what's happening here, and I'm going to explain it to you. Divorce Court will be right back. The worst thing in the world is allow an ex-husband, an ex-wife, an ex-boyfriend, an ex-anybody, even your family members, to run your marriage now. Whatever mistreatment you've gotten before, don't let that leak into the treatment you're getting now. This man ain't doing nothing wrong. You have a suspicious mind because you've been hurt, and I get that. But you're controlling. You interrupt him. He can hug folk at church. If you a believer, you know what I mean? He can hug folk. I hug folk at church. That's where the hugging goes on. You know, that's what happens. You come new to the church, people come up and they hug you. That's what it's all about. That's the fellowship. And if you're that fearful, you know what I mean? You're a woman of God and that's scared. That's inconsistent. Allow your belief to lead you, because if you love from a place of fear, you will never make your man happy. You will make him feel small and imprisoned and unhappy. In order for a guy to be the powerful, strong leader that you want him to be, you got to shut your mouth every once in a while. You got to let him finish you got to let him finish his statements. You got to trust that he's going to do something. He doesn't know how to do all the manly stuff, whatever. My father could do one thing, make money. That's it. He couldn't he couldn't do anything. My mother did the rest of it. But, you know, there's nothing genetically associated with being a guy and fixing a lawnmower. It just isn't. He didn't know how to do it. So what? That doesn't implicate his manhood. This cat loves you. He ain't doing nothing wrong. Let him live. Let him breathe. If he does something wrong somewhere, one day leave him. But right now, don't make him miserable every day on the off chance he might leave you one day, because he's not doing anything wrong. The problem is right here. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You gonna back up?
Absolutely.
You gonna be cool?
Yes.
You gonna let him love you?
Yes.
This matter is adjourned.
So Judge Lynn came down on you pretty hard. What's your reaction to what she had to say today?
Well, I agree. And I have been working on, you know, some certain areas of not trying to be too controlling.
And what's your reaction to what Judge Lynn had to say to your wife?
I love her unconditionally, that I would never, you know, do anything to hurt her. That I love my wife. This is what I signed up for, and just to know that she can relax.